right, let's begin sitting down. Find any way to sit so that you can feel what you're sitting on and root into it more firmly. And then from that, lifting up through the middle of your spine and maybe shifting the shoulders around or gently moving the head. Just feeling into your body a moment here. In the way that you've been moving today or haven't been moving. What is your body asking of you in this physical practice? And as you let your body become still, pay attention to the flow of your breath as it is. Any lingering thought that may have been repeating throughout your day? Now just allow a deeper inhalation. Opening the mouth as you release the breath audibly. Deeper inhalation. Allowing space within the body. This time try to hold the breath in a few seconds. And slowly through the mouth, whisper it out. Hold it at the bottom a few seconds. And let's try that once more, breathing in, filling up your lungs, your belly. Hold the breath in for a moment. And exhaling completely. Hold the breath out for a moment. And now just taking deeper, conscious breaths. So I'd like to ask you, in light of the practice of svadhyaya, self-study, right? That's in the second limb of yoga, the niyamas. If practice makes perfect, what do you practice on a daily basis? What do you practice in anything? In your physical body, in the way you breathe, in your thoughts, both consciously, intentionally, and unconsciously. Because whether we're conscious or unconscious of it, whatever we do repeatedly becomes amplified. So I wrote a post today about choosing joy and how choosing joy itself is a practice, as well as being motivated by fear or anger or worry. So how do we choose joy? That sounds so abstract. From the moment that you get up in the morning, what's the first thing you attend to? Is it a breath of appreciation for having gotten up and having a new day to explore? Is it a thought of, oh God, I've got so many things to do today? Thich Nhat Hanh, a mindfulness teacher, talks about seeds, emotional seeds, and how we water them through our day-to-day thinking and doing and non-doing. If we can become conscious of the seeds that we are consistently watering, how much more fulfilling or intentional can our lives feel and be? So just a thought to chew on. Remember that svadhyaya, it's the practice of constantly observing ourselves, especially our patterns, because as Lao Tzu once said, our thoughts become beliefs, or beliefs become actions, and basically become our character. So what are we constantly repeating? Is it the auto response of, oh, I don't have enough time, I'm too old for that? Or is it unintentional response? to whatever the situation. So now let's bring intention to the breath as you sit up tall and ready to practice Ego Eradicator Kriya. So it is breath of fire, and it's focused on breathing into your belly. It generates digestive heat as well as willpower. Remember that chakra of the solar plexus is activated through this, and it brings heat into the body that will need to warm up, strengthening core muscles as well. So we do it with the lips closed, passive inhale and active exhale, meaning when you breathe out, you consciously pulse the belly towards the spine. And you create a rhythm, and I'm gonna show you the Kriya that goes with it for Ego Eradicator pose. We have the arms out to 60-degree angles straight, the shoulders are relaxed, the spine is tall, and then we curl all the fingers in almost like fists except the thumbs. And the thumbs you want to stretch directly upwards, so you want to feel a bit of a tension, a bit of a pull between the thumb and index fingers as you hold this position. And they just stay there. Closing the eyes, you might direct your gaze to your third eye center, right between the eyebrows, and then closing the lips, prepare to start for 1 minute. Do what you can. Breath of fire. Ready? Begin. Take a deep breath in. Hold the breath for a moment. Think of lifting your pelvic floor, drawing the lower belly in and up. And exhale through the lips. Keep raising the arms. And with your eyes still closed, slowly try to bring your thumbs to touch overhead. And then slowly, palms face down, release the arms by your sides onto your lap. And just observe the effects of that Kriya for a moment. Slowly deepening the breath again through your nose. Start to cultivate Ujjayi Pranayama, or victorious breath. So you're softly narrowing the back of your throat and engaging the mind in a gentle and balanced whispering sound. Feel the breath in enlivening your lungs, your belly, and the breath out feel like a complete release through your nostrils. Slow, steady breaths. And softly open your eyes, and let's come down to all fours, setting your knees under your hips. Set your wrists a couple inches in front of your shoulders, and then come up high on your finger pads, fingertips, making spiders out of your hands. Hollow the center of your palms actively, and really try to rebound your weight off the floor through your fingertips as we begin cat-cow pose. So breathing in, lengthen the chest forward, then coil it up, rolling the shoulders down behind you. Breathing out, contract your belly, dropping the skull as you round the back into cat pose. Take about 4 more cycles of breath, really slow as you inhale to open the chest up. And as you exhale to round the back. Feel high on your fingertips. Trying to rebound your weight off the ground rather than collapsing your weight onto the ground to your fingertips. We're in this position helping to strengthen the muscles that support the wrists. When you finish this round, exhale into a neutral spine. And now let's lean back into the legs to give the outer wrist a stretch. So making fists out of your hands, gently press your fists against each other while leaning the backs of your fists onto the ground. Slowly glide your weight forward and feel out the amount of intensity you'd like the stretch to be in your outer wrists and forearms. And now as you slightly firm your belly towards the back, lengthen the sides of your neck. You might even gently move your head. Make sure that your shoulders are relaxed away from it. Your jaw is relaxed. Calm, deep breathing. 2 more breaths. And now lean into your legs again and just shake out your arms, shake out your shoulders. Raise the arms up high and squeeze into fists and spread the fingers apart. Try that really fast. Just a little more, energizing and strengthening into the wrists, the forearms. Keep going. Even faster. Even faster. See if you can go even faster. Squeezing and swaying the hands. 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Let it go. So let's now set the wrist a couple inches in front of the shoulders, but spin out your upper arms. So turn out the fingertips as well as you're turning the upper arms externally. So you're wrapping the triceps towards the rear of your mat in an effort of broadening the shoulder blades apart and broadening the collarbones apart. Now, as you move just from the wrist, point the index fingers forward so they're about parallel to each other and the thumbs are widely spread flat on the floor. Now, with your hands pushing the floor away, tuck the toes and lift the pelvis high in downward facing dog. Now in downward dog, look at your feet and set them hips width apart or wider parallel. Bend your knees a lot and see how high you can lift your sitting bones away from your hands towards the rear wall of your room. Keep lifting the sitting bones to that height. Engage the belly so you're not overarching the lower back in some way. And now, keeping the sitting bones that height, firm the very fronts of your thigh bones back, right at the crease area of your hips. Press the thighs back. Now, you could keep the knees bent if you start to feel your pelvis descending as you do that, whether or not the heels are on the floor. And now let's hold still here for about 5 more deep breaths, hugging in the bottom of your front ribs and wrapping your triceps towards the ground, lengthening all the sides of your neck as you look towards your feet, lifting the shoulders back, lifting the sitting bones up and back. Feel every knuckle of your palm suctioning your mat, and now firm your outer hips towards your midline, as if you're dragging the feet towards each other, but they're not actually moving visibly. So feel that in your glutes. Keep engaging the belly, and inhale, raise the right leg slowly behind you. Notice if you begin to sway the left hip to the left, hug the left hip towards your midline, and flex your right toes to face the ground. Tacking the left outer hip back, keep flexing the right heel back as though you're pushing into the back wall. Try to equal the weight on both hands, and then slowly walk your hands back. And you might have to come onto your fingertips. You might need to bend the left knee more so that you're in a modified warrior 3. Yup. Alrighty. Extend your chest forward. Draw your shoulder blades back, especially if you're feeling tightness in your hamstring. Bend the left knee even deeper. Lift the lower belly as though you're in plank and firm the right heel behind you. Try to feel equal length on both sides of your torso, from your outer hips to your armpits, taking 2 more deep breaths. Broaden the chest forward. Gaze on the floor ahead of your hands. Nice, then cross the right leg behind your left leg. Put a bend in your left knee and come into a cross-legged forward fold at the rear of your mat. Shifting more weight towards the balls of your feet. Now you could have your fingertips on the ground ahead, on your shins, behind your calves. Any way you want to fold here for about 3 more breaths. Let the head hang low, lift the shoulders high, and free up space in your neck. You might even like to shake and nod your head. Now uncross the legs, come into a regular forward fold with your feet about hips distance apart. Press your shin to the ground, inhale halfway up, drawing the shoulder blades down your back. Exhale, fold in. Feel free to bend the knees here for a long spine. Inhale, raise the arms, rising up to stand. Watch your palms touch. And exhale, trace your thumbs down to your hearts. Breathe in, sweep the arms overhead. Exhale, fold with a long spine, like a flat back type of feeling. So it might require bending the knees. Inhale, walk the hands forward, come back to downward facing dog. Wrapping your triceps towards the floor, spreading your weight through your finger pads, drawing the shoulders back, and lifting your hips as high as you can. So let's do that again. Bend the knees a lot, lift your tailbone as high as possible. Press the very front of your thigh bones at the creases of your hips back. And now begin to lower the heels if they lower. If the pelvis starts to descend, don't lower the heels anymore. Let's hold for 3 more breaths. Feel your front ribs. Hug them inward towards your back. Feel the support of your belly. Now firming your outer hips towards your midline, flex the left foot and inhale, raise it slowly behind you. Trying to keep your weight even on both hands. Draw the right outer hip back. Steady breaths, keep engaging the abdomen. Keep flexing the left foot. Now walk your hands slowly back until you're in that modified warrior 3. Now you could come onto your fingertips. You could bend your right knee as much as necessary. Try to keep your left leg straight and parallel to the floor. Leveling out your 2 hips, gaze past your hands and elongate your chest forward. Couple more breaths. Feel the belly lift slightly as though you were in plank pose. Then cross your left leg behind your right leg to stand at the rear of your mat in a cross-legged forward folds. Bend your right knee. Inhale and exhale. Now you could have your hands clasped behind you if your balance feels pretty stable here. You could hug your calves. You could hold opposite elbows. However you want to practice this forward fold, about 3 more breaths. But just make sure that you're creating as much length in your neck as possible. You're letting the head fall heavy, but you're lifting the shoulders up and away from the neck. Now release the fingertips down and separate your feet hips width parallel into a regular forward fold. Inhale, half forward fold, slide the shoulders back, but lean your chest forward. Exhale, fold in. Perhaps the knees are bent. Inhale, rise up, palms touching overhead. Exhale, trace your thumbs down your center line. Let's step up to the top of the mat for sun salutation A once. Inhale, raise your arms overhead. Exhale, bow forward. Inhale, press with your fingertips, find length in the spine. Step it back to plank pose. And as you exhale, either lower knees, chin, then slide on your belly to modify, or come forward and bend the elbows close to your side ribs through chaturanga. Let's come all the way down for cobra on this first one. So hug the elbows close to the sides, coiling the chest, relax the shoulders, and then pressing up through plank, engage your belly. Lift your tailbone as high as you can and firm the front of your thighs back. Let's take a few breaths in downward facing dog. Bend your knees a lot, look ahead of your fingertips. At the end of your exhale, try holding your breath out, lifting your pelvic floor, and lightly walking or jumping to the front of your mat. Forward fold, inhale, press to lengthen halfway up. Exhale, fold in. Inhale, sweep your arms to rise up. Be aware of keeping the shoulders down and relaxed. Exhale the hands together at your heart. Sun salutation B. Bring your feet to touch, bend your knees together to touch, sink your weight back towards your heels, and inhale into chair pose. Shift your weight forward, exhale to fold. Inhale, lengthen halfway, carefully step to plank or lightly flip to chaturanga, whichever you feel ready for, and inhale into cobra or upward facing dog. Engage the belly to lift the hips into downward dog. So non-traditional way. Inhale, raise the right leg. Be aware of keeping the hips squared. Exhale, lightly step the foot inside of the right hand. Spin the back heel down. With both hips facing forward, inhale, rise into warrior one. Let's hold this first one for about 3 breaths. Feel that you're firming down to your outer left heel while straightening the left leg. And you're bending the front knee just over the ankle as your pelvic bowl is sitting upright. Take another in breath. Use the entire out breath to lower from plank through chaturanga. You might lift the right foot as you lower if you want more core rigor. Into cobra or upward facing. Then back to downward facing. Second side. Inhale, raise the left leg back, keeping the hips leveled. Exhale, slowly contract the belly to land the foot just inside of the left hand. Spin the right heel down. Keeping both hips facing forward, inhale, rise up into warrior one. Again, about 3 breaths in. So as you completely straightening your back leg, firm the outer right heel into the ground as you bend the front knee right over the heel. Pelvis upright, hips facing forward. Take another breath in. On your exhale, lower through plank. If you want more core rigor, keep lifting the left leg as you lower through chaturanga. But both feet on the ground as you inhale to cobra or upward facing. Exhale back to downward facing. And this time let's be still for about 3 to 5 breaths. Feel the lift of your hips, your weight shifting towards the rear of your mat, neck free, breath free. Now with very bent knees, look ahead of your hands. Lift the pelvic floor once you hold the breath out to walk or float to the top. Let your feet touch. Then inhale, raise the chest, lengthen the spine forward. Exhale, fold. Knees touch. Inhale, sit low. Lean your weight into your heels more in chair pose. Exhale to rise up. Twice more. Sun salutation B. Inhale, chair pose. Exhale, fold forward. Inhale, lengthen halfway. Step to plank or float to chaturanga. Take your own version of your vinyasa. Keep going at your pace of breath. When you arrive at downward facing dog, inhale, raise the right leg. Exhale, lightly step it forward, feet hips width apart, back heel down. One inhale to rise into warrior one. Then one exhale to lower into your choice of vinyasa. If you need to tone it down, remember there's cat-cow you could replace chaturanga with. Second side, inhale, raise the left leg. Exhale the foot inside of your left hand, set the right heel down. Inhale, rise up to warrior one. Exhale, lower into your flow. This time we'll meet for several breaths, holding still with awareness in downward facing dog. So as we observe ourselves and habits, even take a look at the subconscious things, like the eyes perhaps wandering or the need to fidget, wiggle the toes. It's funny, I watch these videos, I'm like, I'm wiggling my toes, I'm not holding still. So what does that might perhaps say about the mind? All right, let's bend the knees, look forward. End of the exhale, lightly land at the top. Feet touching. Inhale, lengthen halfway. Exhale, fold. Knees touch. Inhale, chair pose. Exhale to rise. Last one, Surya Namaskar B. Inhale into chair. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, lengthen halfway. Step back or float back. Insert your vinyasa. All the way through at your pace of breath. And if you've got the sequence down, keep going at your pace too. Downward dog, right leg lifts. Exhale to step it forward. Inhale to rise, warrior one. Exhale to lower, vinyasa. And of course, if you're needing to save your fuel, you could skip the vinyasa. Inhale, left leg lifts. Exhale, step it forward. Inhale, rise to warrior one. Exhale, vinyasa. Then back to stillness in downward dog, 3 to 5 breaths. Now, before we step or jump forward, we're gonna add something here, a little sequence. So set your knees down. Have your wrists directly under your shoulders, your knees directly under your hips, so you're in a modified plank. Broaden the shoulder blades apart and lengthen the sides of your neck, gazing forward. Now, firm the belly, steadying your breath. Crawl your left toes behind you to straighten your left leg, pressing the heel back. Observe your pelvis. Keep hugging both outer hips towards the midline to keep your pelvis balanced. And now begin to crawl your right fingertips forward, raising the right arm so that your upper arm aligns with your right ear as you're looking at the ground ahead. Now draw the right shoulder back to lengthen equally both sides of your neck. Right palm is facing the left wall. And if you feel ready to add even more challenge to balancing here, flex your left foot and slowly raise it off the floor so the heel is just about the height of your hip, but be conscious of not collapsing the belly as you do that. So lift the lower belly, broaden the shoulder blades, lengthen, crown of the head forward, inner left heel back. You've got about 3 more breaths here. This is great for practicing core stability, core strength, that ability to hug the midline and find balance in the hips is going to be really important later as well. So do set your right hand flat to the ground so the wrist is directly under the shoulder. Spread the fingers and set your left toes on the ground, spinning the left heel flat. Modified side plank. So keep hugging the front ribs towards your back as you raise the left arm to the sky. Feel your right hand and left foot. Rebound your weight off the floor through them and see if you can feel more space in that right shoulder joint. Spread the shoulder blades apart, hug the front ribs in, and lengthen the crown of your head forward, your tailbone and inner left heel back. Maybe you raise the left foot here, flexing it, sort of like half moon pose on your knee. Got about 2 more breaths. Maybe you sweep the left arm overhead if you want more of a side stretch. Now, option 1, to transition into a kneeling lunge, we're gonna step the left foot forward, lower the left hand so you have support in that transition. Option 2, if you wanna challenge your balance in the transition a bit more, keep that left hand in the air and slowly step the left foot forward towards the top of your mat and come into a kneeling lunge. Once you're there, if you have a strap, in case of any tightness in the shoulders, do grab that with your right hand. If not, you can do without it. So the strap is hanging behind you. Wrap your right tricep forward, bend the elbow behind the center of your head. Land the right palm between your shoulder blades. Then reach the left hand underneath, grab the other end of your strap or your shirt and walk your hands as close together as you can. Now feel your base. That's whatever part of your body is carrying your weight directly connected to the ground. Imagine as though you're scissoring your legs towards each other without visibly moving them. So feel that energy in the muscles of your legs and scissor that left outer hip back. Lift your frontal hip bones. Now as that left heel is plugged firmly, if you have openness in the right hip flexor to do so, draw your tailbone further forward so the pelvis is sort of tilting back. And then lift your back ribs away from your pelvis so as not to overarch the lower back. Keep sealing in the bottom front ribs and see if you can create a little more space along the sides of your neck by pressing the shoulder heads down, broadening your chest. About 3 more breaths. If your shoulder feels okay with it, see if you can add a back bend here, coiling the chest up from contracting right under the shoulder blades. Feel stability, especially if your left foot grounded. Now soften the eyes, relax the face. 1 more deep breath. Slowly release your hands to frame your left leg into half or moving towards full Hanumanasana split. So fingertips on the ground or on blocks alongside your left leg. Flex the left foot, lifting the toes off the ground. As you keep your right hip above your right knee, plug your left thigh bone back, deeper into the hip socket. Feel that quadricep engaged. Now keep firming the belly. Elongate your spine forward, opening the throat and chest as you hinge from your hips. So this is half split or Ardha Hanumanasana. If you're feeling like the back of your left leg is okay with going further, tuck your right toes behind you and begin to slide the left heel forward. Keep plugging that left thigh bone back in contrast so that you keep your hips squared. Your hips don't start to face the right wall of your room. Breath by breath. If you're sliding towards a full split or Ardha Hanumanasana, I forgot to say, if you have a pillow or a block, you could use it underneath your left thigh for added support. So let's take 5 more breaths, whatever depth this is going to be. Just allowing breath and space and mental focus. Feel your right hip slightly shifting forward as your left hip shifts back, keeping that alignment of squaring the hips. Relax the shoulders, relax the face. Take 1 more deep breath. Now very carefully, drag the left foot back, make your way into downward facing dog. And just hold it for about 3 breaths, using downward dog as a gauge to see if anything feels different this time around, or between left and right sides of your body. Again, self-observation, taking action and then observing the effects of the action. All right, let's set the knees down, right under your hips, wrists right under shoulders, modified plank. Engage the belly, gaze forward, and crawl your right toes back to straighten the right leg. So tuck the right toes on the ground and firm the heel back. Now be aware of your pelvis. Balance them, lift the lower belly, then begin to crawl your left fingertips forward to raise the arm like you're about to shake someone's hand. With your upper arm alongside your left ear, draw the left shoulder back. Left palm is facing the right wall. If you feel ready to add more rigor, flex the right foot slowly off the ground and notice if you begin to collapse the belly. So those little nuances, observing tendencies that we might carry from daily life into practice or from practice to daily life, as we pay more attention to them and even practice the physical alignment, that will be optimal. And we can take that practice into integration, just like the mind practice. All right, 1 more breath. Now lower your left hand again, so the wrist is right under your shoulder. Lower the right toes and spin the heel flat. Modified side plank. Press the ground away with the left hand and the right foot and raise your right arm to the sky. Now feel space within your left shoulder joint. Rather than collapsing the weight into the ground, root down and rise. Spread the shoulder blades apart, protraction. Draw them away from the neck, lengthen the crown forward. Maybe you add flexing the right foot off the floor here, sort of like a kneeling half moon pose. Or you raise the right arm overhead. Feel your front bottom ribs hugging inward towards your back. Abdominal muscles supporting. Last breath. Now decide how you want to come into the kneeling lunge. We're going to step the right foot towards the front of your mat. With or without that right hand on the floor, take your time, slow and steady as you breathe. Set the right foot down and rise up, Anjaneyasana. So for that shoulder stretch, if you want to use the strap, take hold of it in your left hand and dangle the long tail behind your back. Rotate the left tricep forward, bend the elbow behind the center of your head, so left palm lands between your shoulder blades. Grab your shirt if you don't have a strap. Reach the right hand underneath, grab your shirt there or hold the other end of the strap, and walk your hands as close together as you can. Perhaps they clasp and you can let go of the strap. Now adjust the stability of your base, or feel it. Energetically, but not visibly, drag your legs towards each other, align your hips squared, and if your left hip flexor feels willing, begin to anchor the tailbone further forward so you're tilting your pelvic bowl slightly back so as not to overarch the lower back. Lift the back ribs as you do this and keep firming in the front ribs. Now feel space in your neck. Broaden the chest, slide the shoulder heads down and open your throat. Maybe you add coiling the chest up for 3 more breaths. And slowly lower your hands to frame your right leg, whether or not you use blocks under your hands. Scissor the right hip back and flex the right toes up off the ground, keeping the left hip above the left knee. This is half split. If you're going further towards full split, tuck your left toes the whole time. And taking your time, slide the right heel back, pause, check in, especially with the hips. Slide, pause, check in. Maybe you place a block or pillow to catch the back of your right thigh as you do this. If you're folding in, especially towards a half split, keep lifting the belly away from your right thigh to support the length of your lower back. Whatever version you're practicing, let's give it 5 more deep breaths. Calm, easy breathing, offering your mind support. All right, as we come out of it, be very mindful in your transition, no rush. Press your hands on the floor, drag the right heel back, step into your downward facing dog, and hold still about 3 breaths. Again, noticing the effects of that sequence. Bending your knees, look ahead of your hands, and at the bottom of your exhale, lightly land at the top of your mat, feet touch. Inhale, lengthen forward. Exhale, fold. Knees touch. Inhale into chair pose. Now stay in chair, bring the hands behind you to clasp. Hug the elbows close together and broaden the chest. Now notice as you do this, do the front ribs begin to protrude? Does the tailbone begin to tilt back? Draw the tailbone down, hug the bottom front ribs in, and keep sliding the shoulder heads away from the neck. 3 more breaths. Now feel your legs firming together so you're energetically and physically hugging your midline. Relax the eyes, though you're steadying your gaze. 1 more deep breath. Maybe sink the hips a little lower. And now exhale to rise up. Inhale the arms overhead, interlace the fingers and flip the palms inside out. Exhale, lift the sides of your torso and then side bend to the right. Couple more breaths. Firm down your left foot a lot to counterbalance you. Then inhale, rise up, switch the interlacing of the thumb and index on top. Heels of the palms press up, shoulders down, side bend to your left. Try to let your right foot feel heavier to help balance. Inhale, rise up. Now reach the arms forward. Rotate the triceps down so the palms flip up. And then draw the shoulder heads back and down. Feel how the shoulders are really stably plugged into their sockets. And you have a lot of space in your neck. The chest is broad. And now begin to sink your hips into chair. Imagine you're gliding your back against a wall as you take a few breaths to lower into boat. Yay! Navasana. Once your pelvis meets the ground and you lift your legs, you can decide to bend your knees or keep your legs straight, hold your legs with your hands, or hold the floor with your fingertips, or not hold anything. But once you're there, visualize the base of your spine, your pelvic floor area. Lift that and draw your navel towards your back. Lift your navel towards your heart. Keep breathing. I'm aware of the time here. Broaden the chest. Now send the shoulder blades down the back and see if you can lift up through the crown of your head a little bit more. Lift up through the back of your skull. Steady your gaze. Soften the face. Smile. You've got just 3 more breaths here. Feel all the sides of your torso, front, back, left, and right. Hug your midline. Core stability. 1 more deep breath. See if you can sit up a little taller. And then exhale, slowly cross the shins, or actually the ankles, just the ankles. Flex your feet, plant your fingertips on the ground alongside your hips. If you have blocks, that can be very helpful. Placing them alongside your hips, you can press your fingertips on blocks or your hands on blocks. Now, take a deep breath, and when you exhale, think of lifting the pelvic floor and see if you can push off the ground with your hands to lift your pelvis off the ground. And then try switching the cross of your ankles with or without blocks under your hands. Breathe in and exhale, root down to rise up. Whew. And then from here, straighten the legs forward. Flex the feet and lengthen the spine over your legs into a forward fold, just briefly. Catching hold of your ankles, your calves, or clasping your big toes. Draw the shoulder blades down your back. Slightly lift your sternum, the middle of your chest, and open your throat. 1 more deep breath in Paschimottanasana. All right, lead with the chest. Inhale to slowly rise up. Let's come down to all fours again, hands and knees, and prepare for forearm plank pose. Set your elbows on the ground exactly under your shoulders, so not wider than shoulders distance. And you can decide, if your mat is slippery, you might want to interlace your fingers and root down your outer wrists. Otherwise, parallel your forearms and spread your fingers palms face down. Now, keep your gaze forward towards your thumbs or slightly past your thumbs, and keep broadening your chest. Engage the belly and walk the toes back until your legs are together and straight. Feel your feet touching like chair pose. Now we're here for a few breaths. Keep steadying your gaze forward. Focus on calm and balanced breathing. Training your mind to follow suit when you use the breath to feel peace. Firm the heels back. Feel the fronts of your thighs engaged. Now imagine a straight line from the crown of your head down your spine, through your tailbone, through your inner heels. Lift the lower belly, lift the sideways. Last few breaths. Imagine you're dragging your elbows and toes towards each other, like you're trying to buckle up the mat without lifting the pelvis higher. So keep that long, straight line. All right, dolphin pose. Walk your toes forward, lift the pelvis up high. Maybe you're here for 3 breaths and you rest in child's pose. Maybe you're here for longer. Now in dolphin, press the chest towards your shins. You can look forward or just let the head hang without bearing any weight on it. Lift the shoulders away from your neck. And then we'll meet in child's pose for a few breaths. Anywhere you want to place your arms, you might want to give your shoulders a rest in child's pose here and wrap your arms down by your shins and feet. Take a deep inhale through the nose, lion's breath. Stick out your tongue, open the eyes and mouth wide. Maybe another lion's breath, or flutter your lips as you breathe out through your mouth to release any tension in the jaw. Plant your hands alongside your knees, tuck your chin towards your chest, and with an inhalation, slowly roll up to sit. All right, so I promised an inversion practice today. We've done quite a bit of preparation. If you have a wall around you, I'm going to demonstrate L-shaped pose with a wall. I just realized I do have a little wall here, so I'm going to move this plant. If you don't have a wall, you might prefer dolphin pose, which we just did, with variations like lifting one leg up and then the other leg up. But if you are doing L-shaped pose, let me do a quick demo. You want to grab something like a block or just to mark a spot. You're gonna measure your legs distance away from the wall. I like to do it by sitting down, completely flush my back and pelvis against the wall and the legs straight forward. And then I'll use a block to mark where the edge of my heels landed. So where the edge of your heels land is where you want to place of your palms, which means the fingertips are going to be more forward of the heels. And then from here, you want to have the hands shoulders width or wider apart and come into downward dog. It's going to be a short downward dog with the heels against the wall. But here you'll want to wrap the triceps down, create that stability in the shoulders. We've been practicing stability in the core, hugging the front ribs in. And then you'll want to rock forward so the shoulders stack right above the wrists. Keeping that, we'll walk the feet up the wall very slowly, but you want to actively push the wall with your feet until you can find that your legs are parallel to the ground. So it's an L shape upside down. Pelvis right over. Don't have a mirror. So you want to have the legs parallel to the floor. You could also lift one leg up and then switch. And then when you do come out of it, keep your head low. Try not to lift your head up really quickly. Come into child's pose for a few breaths, and then you can slowly roll up. All right, I'll walk you through if you're doing the L-shaped pose. If you're not doing it, you can practice headstand if you have that, practice or dolphin or downward dog. All right, measure your legs distance away from the wall by sitting with your pelvis and back against the wall, and place something where your edge of your heels land. And then place the heels of your palms where the edges of your heels landed. Come into downward facing dog, heels touching the wall. Once in downward dog, allow a moment to really establish. Rotate your triceps. Spread the fingers wide and flat and lift the shoulders back. Now feel your belly engage, hug the front ribs in. From here, rock forward so shoulders stack right above your wrists. Then begin to push your feet into the wall firmly. The tendency, if it's not just sweaty feet, the tendency out of fear is to not push the wall hard enough. Then your feet will just slip down. So you do want to use that. It's the same as rooting down to rise up, to find stability and strength. You want to use that wall as support, push into the floor, push into the wall. And as you bring enough force into both, then you'll have that shaped pose. And this is such a great strengthening posture for other inversions, whether it be headstand or handstand. Nice. Yes. Awesome. And as you hold it, great job, Andrea. As you hold it, feel your front ribs hugging in. Feel the shoulders rising away from the neck. Nice. Wow, Nina, I think you need to bring your hands closer to the wall. I can't see all of your body, but it looks like, yeah. Because when you go up, you want to have your legs parallel to the wall, then your pelvis in line with your shoulders and hands. If you're going again, take some wrist stretches in between. If you think your wrists are asking for it, you can interlace the fingers and roll out your hands. Maybe shake the head out if there's any tension in the neck. All right, maybe another minute. When you feel like you're done, just end up in child's pose and we'll all meet there. Yes, nice job. Keep wrapping your triceps towards the wall once you're upside down. Nice work, everyone. So take a few breaths in child's pose. Maybe some more lion's breaths to let some heat out. And as you're ready, slither onto your stomach to lie face down. Set your right ear to the ground or on a block and slide your right arm straight out to the right so we can stretch the front of your right shoulder. So the right palm is face down and you're pushing the ground away with your left hand so that you can slowly roll over your right hip, either stacking your feet or going further into the stretch by stepping the left foot behind you, maybe exploring how it feels to wrap the left arm back as well, or to also step the right foot down. Allow 3 more breaths. Soften the right shoulder away from your neck, creating space on that side. Take another deep breath, wide across your chest. And exhale, softly roll onto your belly to switch sides. Lowering your left ear on the ground or on a prop, slide your left arm straight out to the left with a palm face down. Press the ground away with your right hand and gently roll over onto your left hip. Whether you're stacking your feet or going further and stepping the right foot behind you, maybe playing with how it feels on this side to wrap the right arm behind as well. Slide the left shoulder down your back, and let's take 3 more deep breaths. Exhaling, roll onto your belly into Sphinx pose. So lift the chest, slide the forearms forward so your elbows are slightly in front of your shoulders, and prepare to stretch your quads and shoulders. So slide the knees as together as you can to start. Cross the left forearm on the ground in front of your chest. Then backstroke your right arm to open the shoulder and catch hold of the big toe side of your right ankle or foot. With your knees no wider apart than your hips distance, ground your 2 frontal hip bones and bring your right heel slightly towards the outside of your right hip. Now feel the support of your left forearm on the floor, allowing you to turn your chest forward and to slide both shoulders down your back for 3 more breaths here. Gently release the right leg straight. Come back to Sphinx pose. Scoot the knees closer together. Then cross the right forearm in front of your chest. Bend the left knee and backstroke your left arm, touching hold of the toe side of your left ankle or foot. Knees no wider apart than hips distance. Press both frontal hip bones into the ground and bring your left heel slightly towards the outside of your left hip. Now soften the shoulders back and down, broadening your chest forward. 3 more breaths. Gently release and press your hands on the floor to slowly lift up to sit for a seated spinal twist. Straightening your left leg forward, either set your right foot in front of the hip or outside of your left knee, or you might also bend your left knee. Finding the variation that lets you sit tall and keep your pelvis balanced and grounded. Then backstroke your right hand on the ground behind your pelvis and raise your left arm. Press into the floor as you breathe in and sit taller. Exhale, twist at your waistline to your right and lower your left hand on your right shin or hook your left elbow outside your right thigh. Keep pressing into the floor as you breathe in and sit taller. Breathing out, hollow your belly and keep turning your chest into the twist. Relaxing the shoulders. Couple more breaths. As you exhale, unwind the spine. Slide the right leg straight. And let's set up side 2 the same way if you can. Left in front of the hip, outside of the right knee, and or bend the right knee. Backstroke the left hand behind your pelvis and raise your right arm. Firm into the ground, breathe in, lift up. Exhale, twist to your left. Lower your right hand on your shin or hook your right elbow outside of your left thigh. Breathing in, press into the ground, lift up. Breathing out, hollow the belly and deepen the twist. Shoulders relaxed, neck relaxed. Take one more full breath here. Then unwind. Let's bring the feet together in Baddha Konasana as we lie on our backs. So if you want to support your thighs, if they're lifting uncomfortably away from the floor, grab something like blocks, preferably even in height, and place them under your outer thighs. Unless it's comfortable and you can just let the knees fall open. And then come to lie on your back here, setting your left hand to rest at the center of your chest, Anahata Chakra, right? The heart energy center. And then the right hand just below the belly button, sacral energy center. Relax both shoulders back and down. Feel natural curve in your neck, closing your eyes. Allow the weight of your skull to be completely supported by the earth beneath. Allow the weight of your pelvis, both left and right hips, to feel supported too. Invite a deep inhalation, slowly and gently expanding within. Hold the breath at the top of that, and maybe play with sipping in a little more. Holding, savoring, before you open the mouth and let it slowly go. Release. Feel the emptiness at the bottom, and then just allow your breath to flow freely, trusting. It's beautiful wisdom. Your breath, your teacher too. So we arrive in Shavasana. If you'd rather splay out your arms and legs, feel free. Do what nourishes peace in your body and mind. We'll be here for a few minutes. As your body remains still and your eyes close, just feel the effects of your physical practice, your breath practice. As you continue observing inward, start with small movements to kindly, lovingly awaken your body. Anything that feels good. Perhaps you ease into a stretch. You might draw the knees into your chest. Taking your time, however you want to make your way to sit. Maybe you turn over to your right side. Find the path of least resistance to get there. So we have 2 minutes for our seated meditation and stillness. I invite you to continue the practice of svadhyaya, self-study, observing the breath as it is with no need to control it. And the same thing of your mind, observing your mind as it is with no need to control it. As you watch your thoughts, if you begin to stray away, your attention wanders elsewhere, as soon as you notice that happens, feel your breath again as a means to be here now. 2 minutes. Let's start. Feel your breath in, feel your breath out. Join your palms to meet at your heart as we close, bowing in, acknowledging your inner guidance and your ability to observe your thoughts, your habits, and consciously choose what you perpetuate, what patterns you repeat or change. Remembering that you have that freedom. It's a work in progress for all of us, right? Let's close chanting one Om. Take a deep breath. The light light in me bows to the light in you. Namaste. Hmm.